Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings. Uh, Especially to Miss Aina Farisha Binti. So today we are in Sarawak will be literary analysis for the subject ELT22403 Language Proficiency II Introduction to Literature in Education. And of course, this presentation is prepared for Miss Aina Farisha Binti Azhar. So without further ado, I think let us introduce ourselves first. My name is FADZIM Aiman Bin Jalani. Moving on to the next presenter. Haviani.
Okay, sorry, it's like my name is Heavenly. I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Tanya Hallm Anak Halim.
And my name is Viviana Marcela.
All right, so without further ado, let us continue this presentation with the introduction first. So basically, this assignment focuses on four diverse and captivating poem includes for the literary analysis. So we actually do the analysis, the literary analysis for four poems. The first one is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. The second one, Confession of a Born Spectator by Ogden Nash. The third one is Becoming a Woman by Hilary Tom. And the fourth one is The Error and the Song by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. But for this presentation, we are going to present two poems that we already decided, which is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening and also Becoming a Woman by Hilary Tom. So each of these poems present the theme analysis, the setting analysis, and the literary devices. So for this presentation, we will focusing on the present Woods on a Snowy Evening and also Becoming a Woman by Hilary Tam. Okay, without further ado, moving on to the next part. All right, so for the first poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. This will be presented by FADZIM Aiman Bin Jalani, which is myself and my friends Viviana, Marta, Marcela, Anna, Mathias. Okay, so we proceed with the introduction of this poem first. So as you can see here, the title of the poem is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, and the writer is Robert Frost. So this poem is actually published in 1922, and it is as a part of the New Hampshire collection. And the themes of this poem is focusing on nature, solitude, human experience, and life complexity. And the main idea of this poem itself is actually contemplation of life journey and responsibility amidst a tranquil snow scene. And for your information, it focuses on the tranquil reflection of a speaker who poses to admire the loveliness of a snowy scenery during a cool winter night. And the Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening showcases Frost's skill by blending a peaceful backdrop with thoughts on duty and the progression of life, creating a timeless poem that speaks to people of all ages. And moving on to the setting analysis, as you can see here, the setting is about a winter evening in a snow-covered forest described as a lovely, dark, and deep. So is a future of countryside scenery during a snowy winter evening. And the stark contrast between the speaker's internal conflict and the simplicity of this scene is evident. Okay, so the mood is, of course, the writer want to bring the mood of calm, serene, reflective, yet contrasting with internal conflict. And the contrast of this poem for the setting analysis is between the tranquil environment and the speaker's sense of duty and responsible. And the symbolism. Of course, this poem play a lot of symbolism. For example, like the forest represent freedom, temporary escape, and also possible death. Okay, the speaker's isolation, which is includes physical, emotional, and existential solitude, which is it reflects on life's duties and also choices. All right, so setting analysis settled. Moving on for the literary devices. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 literary devices that I'm focusing on for this poem analysis for the part of literary devices. The first one is imagery, the second one is symbolism, the third one is repetition, and the last one is rhyme scheme. Okay, first of all, imagery. So its vivid description of the forest and snow evoke peace and mystery, reflecting the speaker's mood. For the symbolism, the poem used the woods as a temptation to rest, symbolic of the allure of giving up or contemplating death. And the symbolism of journey, which is represent life and its responsibilities. And the word repetition here is miles to go before I sleep, highlights the speaker's sense of duty, implying the need to continue despite longing the rest. And of course, the rhyme scheme of this poem is A-A-B-A pattern, which is create a smooth flowing rhythm that mirrors life ongoing journey. Okay, I think that is all for my part. And then moving on for team analysis and conclusion that will be presented by Viviana Marta.
Okay, thank you, FADZIM. So I will present for the theme analysis and the conclusions. For the theme analysis, for this poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost, the first theme is isolations and reflections, momentary escape for the life pressure for self-reflections. And for the second theme is a conflict between responsibility and desire. The speaker longs to stay but acknowledge the needs to fulfill duties, for example, promises to keep. And the third theme in this poem is a life and death. The forest symbolize both an allure of stopping, for example, possibly death, and the necessity of moving forward, example, life. And for the conclusions, a balancing of relations and responsibility, life's ongoing journey despite the desire for rest. The poet Frost used the nature and human reflections resonate universally, touching on life, death, and the human conditions. I think that's all for my part. Next presenter.
Okay, so moving on to the next poem. Okay, my name is Tanya Hallm, and today I'll be talking about the poem Becoming a Woman by Hilary Tam. So in this presentation, I will be covering 4 keys or area, which is a brief introduction to the poet, what the poem is about, the types of setting found in the poem, and as well as some suggestion for improvement. So about the poet, Hilary Tam was a Malaysian-born poet and also a painter and teacher. So she was born in Klang, Malaysia, to Chinese immigrant parents. Later in life, she moved to the United States in 1971 after marrying a Peace Corps volunteer. So she earned a master's degree in English literature from the University of Malaya and published 9 books of poetry and more. and a memoir. So what makes her work special in how it reflects her personal experiences as an immigrant woman blending Asian heritage with life in America. So about the poem Becoming a Woman was published in 2010 and focuses on the experiences of growing up as a woman. So it captures the physical and emotional changes that come with puberty and explore the challenges of how societal expectation placed on women. Then doesn't just talk about menstruation as a biological change. She also presents it as a symbolic transformation, whereby a shift from childhood to adulthood. So through this poem, she highlights the sacrifices, growth, and resilience required to navigate womanhood. It's a powerful piece that encourages self-reflections and introspection and challenges the traditional role imposed on women. So next slide. Okay, so next I'll be presenting on the types of settings in the poems, in this poem. So there are 4 settings in this poem. So first one is physical setting. So in this physical setting, the physical setting in this poem is the home itself, where the girl learns about menstruation from her mother. This setting represents intimate, practical lesson about growing up as a little girl with her mother. For example, the mother teaches her how to make sanitary napkins using rice paper, symbolizing the passing down of traditional knowledge. Next, cultural setting. This poem reflects Chinese tradition, particularly in the modesty and respect, which tied to menstruation. The use of rice paper is symbolic of all customs passed through generations. Next is social setting. As the girl grows, she begins to experience the expectation of society. There is a struggle between personal freedom and societal demands, which shows how women often need to balance individuality with external pressures. Last but not least is symbolic setting. The moon symbolizes the menstrual cycle and emotional development in the girl's emotional growth. The girl's changing feelings towards the moon represent her acceptance of womanhood over time. So that's it for my part. And moving on to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. So as for my part, I will explain about the literary device and the main themes and also what makes this poem is interesting. So as for this literary device, there are 5 literary device, which is the first one is metaphor. In this metaphor, Them compares menstruation to factory rejects, suggesting that womanhood often feels difficult and imperfect. This metaphor highlights the internal struggles and societal pressure faced by women, emphasizing the feelings of being flawed or unwanted in certain aspects of their life. Second one is simile. Time use similes like a likeness of modest factory rejects to draw parallel between personal growth and factory rejected products. This comparison emphasizes the feelings of being flawed or rejected during the process of growing up, making the reader reflect on the challenges or acceptance. So for the third one, personification. In the line, I curse the tides with my body, Time personifies the physical changes of puberty. By attributing human qualities to these natural processes, she shows her frustration with the overwhelming and often confusing changes that occur during the time. Next slide. So for the fourth one, allusion, Tem references modest factory rejects, which is reflecting past cultural norms about menstruation. This allusion brings attention to how society has historically viewed and treated women's natural cycles, highlighting the stigma and the misunderstanding that have surrounded menstruation. And the last one, tone and mood. The tone of the poem shifts from anger to forgiveness, indicating growth and acceptance over time. The moods move from frustration to realization, capturing the duality of motherhood, its struggles and its joys. These shifts helps the reader understand the emotional journey and development of the speaker. Next slide. So for the main theme for this poem is there are the first one is self-awareness and this self-discovery. Theme uses the metaphor of eating pebble to represent deep introspection. This act symbolizes the importance of knowing oneself for personal growth. It's a reminder that self-awareness is the foundation of our journey towards becoming our true self. By deeply understanding our thoughts, feelings, and motivations, we can better navigate life's challenges and embrace our authentic identities. So the second one is gender roles and societal expectation, which is a tearing a daisy in the poem reflects the frustration with society's expectation for women. This imaginary highlights the ongoing struggles between maintaining individuality and conforming to societal norms. Terms urge us to question these roles and find our own path, suggesting that true fulfillment comes from embracing our unique identities rather than succumbing to societal pressure. Next slide. So for the third one, which is empowerment and liberation, the poem portrays a girl who questions societal rules and seek her own identity. These themes emphasizes the importance of finding one's voice and breaking free from traditional role. Them encourages us to embrace our true self and stand up against limiting norms. Empowering comes from recognizing our worth and asserting our individuality in a world that often tries to confine us. So the last one is resilience. Despite facing numerous challenges, the girl in the poem learns to adapt growth. Them show us that resilience is the key to defining our own identities, regardless of societal expectation. It's a celebration of the strength and determination that women possess. Through resilience, we can overcome obstacles, learn from our experience, and continue to grow into our true self. Next slide. So, so for what makes this poem what makes this poem interesting? So Hilary Thames' poem, Becoming a Woman, is captivating for several reasons. So the first one is the poem highlights the pressure society places on young women. Thames beautifully illustrate the expectation and challenges that women face as they navigate their journey to womanhood. This perspective resonates with many as it reflects the real life struggles for conforming to societal norms and finding one's place in the world. Secondly, the poem encourages self reflection and embracing individuality. Thames' works inspire us to look inward, understand our true self, and embrace our unique identities. The poem urged readers to break free from traditional roles and societal expectation, empowering them to forge their own path and celebrate their individuality. So for the suggestion for improvement, which is the clear solution, we could show how the girl fully embraced her identity despite social expectation, and more clear imaginary sensory details could make her journey feel more relatable to reader. So that's all for my part.
All right, so proceed with the conclusion of this assignment and also this presentation. So basically, this writing analysis or else writing literary analysis for the poem shown as the value of analyzing literary work to uncover deeper meanings as well as concepts and see how different poets compose their literature in their own unique ways. Because when it comes to literary poem analysis, we deal with the setting analysis, we deal with the themes analysis, and we deal with the literary devices analysis. Okay, and then we also learn how literature can connect to our own experience, which adds to our understanding as a learner. And it also helps to improve our critical thinking, our thinking skill on how we want to be creative in the writing the poems, on how we want to express our feelings towards the poetry, towards the poem writing. And then last but not least, so it's improve our critical thinking and encourage to engage with text more thoughtfully and enhance our appreciation for poetry and its reflection on lives. So that's all from our group. Thank you. Transforming life and reaching future.